try to resist this metamorphosis. Right just so with Iman Blak. Listen to Iman. Step aside, Slassia.
This is Marogini. Salut, messieurs, mesdames. Vous êtes en train d'écouter Métamorphosis avec Doc Iman Blak.
People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of the skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Vote for me and I'll set you free. Rap on, brother, rap on. Well, the only person talking about love now, brother, is the preacher.
From a cuckoo to a butterfly, metamorphosis.
There is a light far, far away, where there's no light there.
People of the world into one vast organization to plant the banner of freedom on the great continent of Africa. If Europe is for Europeans, then Africa is for the black people of the world. Men and women as black as I am, and even more so, had believed themselves right under West Indian order of society. I was simply an impossible man to use openly the term Negro, yet everyone beneath his breath was calling the black man a nigger. I had to decide whether to please my friends and be one of the black whites of Jamaica and be reasonably prosperous, or come out openly and help improve and protect the integrity of the black millions and suffer. I decided to do the latter. There is no future for a people who deny their past. My foreparents, my grandparents, my mother and father did not suffer and die to give me an education to oppress, slight, or discourage my people. Whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million Negroes of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumptions of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class. He was of wood and drawers of water. I predicated my view of man and the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men regarding the dollar were created in the image of God.
So many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting ourselves together, we're polishing up our act. If you've never been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Stand in your way. I want you to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on
cocoon into a caterpillar. From a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, is live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, creating beauty and stimulating change from a constant supply of relevant knowledge and information.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Black men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
I, son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari.
Keep listening.
God save the Queen. God bless America. Is that the same God that will help the people of Africa in this war against virus and bacteria?
Panic, 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 panic. International panic. Universal panic. And worldwide panic, 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 panic. And the upsetting.
Metamorphosis.
Panic German government. Panic American government. Panic Italian government. Panic, panic Cuban government. International panic. Universal panic. Babylon panic. And Babylon panic. Never get away from I. Never get away from Lee. You never get away from I. You never get away from I. No one ever get away from I. No one ever get away from I.
I'm feeling very, 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 very incensed. Very incensed at the moment.
I am the upsetter government. I am the upsetter police. I am the upsetter thieves. I am the upsetter soldiers. I am the upsetter government. I am the upsetter police. I am the upsetter thieves. I am the upsetter soldiers.
Metamorphosis. Dr. Iman Blak. Styles FM.
Universal panic. Babylon panic. And Babylon panic. Even Satan panic. And the Typhel panic. And Jezebel panic. The devil in hell panic. Panic. Panic.
when me fly down far. We step on the beast and kick down with him like a slide down bar. We burning the system, we tell the youths if we fight gun war. Uplifting me sister, tell us I see I love star. We don't want it. Babylon the system falling, but this is just the beginning. Beginning of the grand finale. Finale because eventually we get the call. So if we stand up tall and if we gang up cause united, we stand divided, we fall and we love. Whoa, walk with the Prince of Peace, till I see you the leader. Praise be to the kings of kings, Alpha and Omega. Hear the children say, yes, I guess. Highly, 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 highly. Ah, boy, you never want me forever burning. And you see when the tables turn. Me say I love her, I and I preaching. So every land of hate will burn. I was there when the ships came and chastised in a Jesus' name. Wonder if me crazy, wonder if me sane. But the whole of Rome I go up in a flame. I know nothing for me walk in a room and start a fire, start a fire. And I know nothing for me walk in a room and start a fire, start a fire. God them I wonder how a little African I go burn down the whole in a Vatican. But I know nothing for me walk in a room, start a fire, start a fire. We a go home, the whole demographic. And when me talk, I mean no hypocritic. When you say Rome, I eat no geographic. But if I you feel wear the cap, then I you it happy. When me say Rome, me a talk about lion. I the Selassie, I the power of the triad. The eagle and the dragon and the bear a spit fire. But them can't overthrow the conquering lion. Listen to the voice of your people. Today Rome will burn. And not me alone as a over evil. Say today Rome will burn. No nothing for me walk in a room and start a fire, start a fire. Yes, no nothing for me walk in a room and start a fire. Me say a fire because
I, son of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. Our heart shall correspond and beat it in one harmony. Sounds from the burning spear. Shall not enter. These
Dynasty Lane, greetings, Rastafari blessings, hail to ones and ones listening to Style FM, Metamorphosis. Dr. Iman Blak here, in an incensed mood, the way things are unfolding globally, regionally, locally. Incensed. Yes, it is so crucial in these days that the vast majority, I think, would rather not pay attention to what's taking place and to remain in the realm of hope and prayer and waiting for intervention by divine forces. But it's getting beyond divine forces. It is at the level of the biological, bacteria, virus, signs, war, serious times, much mistakes being showed up, weaknesses in systems and thinking, biological war. Preparation begins with knowledge. Not panic, knowledge, crucial. Yeah, we give thanks for getting together again, because I never really knew that I would be able to experience Earth in a condition that it is in presently. Serious amount of panic and just a sort of people feeling defeated because of the way in which the war is now being waged. It is not based on economics only now. It has moved to a different level. And in that level, the African people now seem to be the greatest victims and the most exposed and the least prepared. What is ongoing. And we find that things are more serious than what you call the media would want us to know. So Metamorphosis, looking at it from different perspectives, what is really happening to African people. What is happening to African people, not just people in Jamaica, but the people of Africa, the people of pigment. The attack is intense. At the first level, there is a chick, V, that has now claimed 6 or 7 lives just within the education system, teachers and students. It's not directly the argument that it has arose other symptoms, other illnesses in the body. So, for example, if you have asthma, it will exacerbate the thing, it will make it worse. And then you probably get an attack and that will kill you. So the chick thing not doing it directly now, it is searching out for weaknesses in the system. Wherever the weaknesses are, it just works. So we have to begin to assess now and study our own biology. We have to stop put out now and start study our own body, the physiology of the black man. Get to know the various systems within the body, the endocrine and the nervous and the respiratory and the excretory. We have to know the systems that are the fundamental fibers that make up I, because this is not a joke. And at another level now in the fight, in this war, it is a test to the things that we have been taught through religion and the church and schools. Is this an act of God? Does God have a role to play now in this war? And we know that God only back winners. So what is the role now of black people now, African people now, who are now, some who are now relying upon Allah to support them in this distressful time? And another group of Africans who are depending upon Christ and Jehovah to save them in this time. So the salvation now must come from one of these two gods. And if none of them responding, we have to really consider whether they are really there, and whether that is not a part of the enslavement. So this attack that is global is serious. And we are here on the island now, we are dependent on news coming out of the bigger places. So we'll depend on North America as usual. And then we hear about this extreme virus now, the Ebola, that is now in Texas. Texas is a very big place, you know. You can drop Jamaica in Texas a couple times well. It's a vast, vast place. We don't really have any restrictions on people from Texas coming here, but you know it go already. Make us explore now the rules of power and politics and the dynamics of monetary power. And the whole idea of industries like tourism and alarms and disturbing and holding down information, and there's a whole battle going on. So there's a lot of information, a lot of disinformation, and a lot of misinformation. There's much data out there that I have to be sorting through. and to connect dots that are sensible, because there's so much things out there, it's easy to remain confused. So metamorphosis now, we try to connect some of the dots and make the picture clear to those who eye is willing to open. Metamorphosis, Size FM.
Goes away from Africa with the intention to steal our culture. That's good for the past by instead. Humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself, my little ones. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother,
So Iman put forward the original question based upon this little prose. I grew up as a youth believing whole heap of things, believing, because that is his way of coming to quote unquote know things and sort of fall into the rhythm of thinking that believing is knowing. Because really and truly, the system of education and church is really about convincing you to believe. Because knowing now requires searching and researching and thinking. Beliefs don't require no thinking, you know. It requires recitation and memory. So you memorize the thing that you believe in. Knowledge now is a more internalized growth. Because with knowledge you grow. Yeah, and you expand your thinking process and you increase things like your vocabulary and you increase your comprehension skills and so on. All right. So I always, as a youth, going into the system that is really dominated by white supremacist ideology. I was one of the youth them who never really think say white people could tell a lie, you know. Yeah, me was one of the youth them was so naive that I couldn't believe so white people could lie. I don't know if any other man get that type of education or drilling or, you know, programming. But that was really, and maybe that was part of the psychology that was dominated the plantation. Where I and I were programmed never to doubt anything that Backward man said. So, and at the same time, we were programmed to doubt everything where Bridging said away. Yeah, that kind of reverse psychology, which is another issue. So I kind of grew up in this naivety. Say, white men don't lie. Well, my kind of shocker was experience in North America when there was a breaking in a hotel, and the hotel was called Watergate. And I was shocked out of my wits to learn and see for myself that white men who held positions as high as the President of the United States and his aides and assistants, that those men could lie. Boy, that was shocking. Absolutely shocking. But it was a wake-up. It was a wake-up to reality that lies don't really come in any race. Lies are not, grounded in any particular race or culture. Lies are what men create in them brain to pass on to other men. So nobody don't have no special inherent capacity to just lie, I don't think. But the plantation gave us a feeling that all things that the white man said was true. And in that teaching now, it is where we got this idea now of this one God. And it is his teaching of the white man, our concept of one God now, that and I want to look into, because we have a lot of difficulties on the earth, particularly amongst black people. And the great divide is Christianity and Islam. But both religions claim the one God. So maybe it's about time we sort of explore deeper into this philosophy and ideology of one God. And is it the same God that blesses America? And the same God that saved the Queen? Is it that same God now that I and I, people of Africa, need to call upon? And if not, should we not return to the original gods and goddesses of the black culture? Because the war between us must come to cease. The war between black Christians and black Muslims must come to a close. And the idea of Allah versus Jehovah, we have to step aside from that conflict, free our process of thinking, that we can concentrate on the war that is on hand. Metamorphosis. Grief, enough distress in the system of the planet. Enough distress. And the panic is greater now because the threat is seen to be specific at African people. We hear of its origins in Africa, as we are told of all viruses. And whether that is so, whether this particular one started in the fruits, in the bats that ate the fruits, or the people who ate the fruits, and it therefore jumped, whether that was a genesis or not, the fact of the matter, no. Whether it was man-made, whether it was made in the lab or not, it means that it is here. And the thing is ravaging places in Western Africa. The impression that it is the entire West Africa is a sort of media deception. Because the media don't tell you say it's the entire Central United States. They tell you Texas. But then in the United States itself now, we see where there are reports of suspected cases of this Ebola thing in places like Connecticut and even Florida. Patients have to be quarantined with symptoms. And you know, I'm really, really concerned. When I said I'm incensed how this thing kind of just sneak out and reach into all the corners of the earth. You know, they said the virgin who died, the first virgin whose name was Duncan, who died in Texas. Them say one of his, what you call, the nurses were there. That person now on a cruise liner, you know, out in the carnival boat anchored somewhere out in front of Belize. That them said them quarantine the person in that boat and waiting to take them out. But something sinister is going on. In the same way, a man just come out Montego Bay Airport and just come in and just go to the hotel and they must run on him and take him out and carry him back out. Virgin, I kind of seriously concerned about these events. And along the line now, in our island, we have the presence of the Honorable Minister of the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, and he has organized to have a function at the arena. Now, I don't know if this is getting a little bit overboard, but with all that's going on in this war against germs now, I don't know if we really need an international gathering of people. I'm not trying to try the cold water and nothing, you know, but I'm going to get practical. Because with all this virus war going on and people flying in and flying out, I don't know if it's time that we should have an international gathering. You know, that's a serious thing we have to consider, because it's not just about the hype, no, it's about the health. It must be about the health and the prevention of things rather than trying to cure things. We don't have the resources. So we have to think carefully now into what we're doing. We welcome Mr. Farrakhan and his entourage. I don't really understand what is really the political objective. At the same time, the Trinidadian Muslim leader was banned and arrested at the airport on Wednesday. And apparently he was here, he was coming here to be part of the celebrations on Sunday with Farrakhan. So that would be another Muslim group joining up with another Muslim group here. I don't know what the Muslims have in mind, but they have an interest in Jamaica, and them seem to think that Rastafari is a route into the rest of the island, and I'm on watching.
Babylon one more time. Come we go chant down Babylon one more time. Oh, them soft, yes, them soft. Them soft, yes, them soft. So come we go chant down Babylon one more time. Men see their dreams and aspiration crumble in front of their face, and all of their wicked intention to destroy the human race. How don't you know? And how I know, and that's how I know. A reggae music, come to chant down Babylon. The music, come to chant down Babylon. This music, come to chant down Babylon. This music, come to chant down Babylon. Come we go chant down Babylon one more time. Come we go chant down Babylon one more time. Come we go chant down Babylon one more time. Come we go chant down Babylon. For them soft, yes, them soft. They say them soft. So come we go chant down Babylon one more time.
The foundation of this enslavement system is really in the mentality and the religion. The people of religious orientation, Christian them now, when they see these things, they turn to the Bible, because it's the Bible that will explain to them things that are happening in the practical world. And they say that, yes, wars and rumors of war, and they tell us now that God is coming for his world. So again, it brings up this whole notion of God coming for his word, but before him come for it, him going to destroy it with germs. So this is a germ warfare being orchestrated by God. We don't hear anything about the devil doing anything evil. We hear all about this destruction and God coming for his world. So if we begin to stop and think again, what is the nature of this God that we have been tied to? This God of violence and genocidal thinking. Is that not the nature of the opposition? Talking to all black people who are Christians and all those who are Muslims. One hiding behind a sound called Allah and the other one hiding behind a sound called Jehovah. Both of them claiming that it's one. So Jehovah and Allah is one. Right? That means that both of them is one. Like how one company control two goods and give them two different names. Yeah, we have to move now a little bit beyond now, because the thing I get too serious. The manipulation and the extraction of the people out of the land. Because the land is vital, the African continent, places like Jamaica, vital land masses, So the population here don't rate it because they're concentrating and leaving it to go to heaven. They want to go beyond Mars, where it's being colonized now, because heaven must be beyond Mars. Mars is about to be colonized by these same human beings. So obviously heaven must be beyond Uranus. The new telescope that is planting now going to show them beyond, which means you still can't reach heaven. So it means, so you see, black people, whether you're Christian or you're Muslim, you have to leg of that one God thing. And we're going to explore how did we really arrive at this one God concept, where we get it from. Who imposed that one God concept on the African meditation? Because in previous histories, long before contact with the European, the meditation of Africans wasn't focused upon a one God. The Africans knew of the gods of nature. And these gods were both masculine and female and feminine in their attributes. This is a far, far removed thing that tying up us now as a people. So we have to disconnect, deconstruct, and liberate so we can have ourselves to fullness to defend. We begin to know about our bodies and our immune system and begin to deal with ourselves directly and abandon the concept of this eternal slave master.
Panic, 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 panic. International panic. Universal panic. And the upsetting. Panic German government. Panic American government. Panic Italian government. Panic Cuban government. International panic. Universal panic. Babylon panic and Babylon panic. Never get away from I. Never get away from me. You never get away from I. Never get away from I. No one never get away from I. No one never get away from I. No one never get away from me. No one never get away from I. I am the upsetter government.
Yes, we moving into the segment called Alkebulan, our story. Commit the blackness of the people. Long before Ebola, and long before chickpea, and long before they told us about monkeys and we eating animals and animals creating virus that jumping back and forth. Long before we were introduced to this poisonous environment, the continent was healthy, cyclic, sun and water and rain, mountains and wind and animals, and people living in harmony with the environment. Nobody really trying to conquer nature. It was more a situation of harmonizing, and you harmonize through comprehension, and you comprehend through observation, and this takes time. And so the ancients always had a respect for time, knowing that time was infinite, and the time moved backwards, and the future is imaginary. The reality is the past, and the reality is the present. So we have our continent under siege, the western section under siege, and it looks like the direction it's moving now is central. So there's Western Africa, Central Africa, North, South, East, and the Horn, the largest landmass, because what they call Asia in reality is also of Africa. But that's another story. But within the greatness of this continent, when we lack the knowledge of where the continent was before the invasion, we think that the continent was always where it is now. And the media tries to reinforce that Africans really came to light when the Europeans got there. But that is true. We came to light. We were exposed to the dangers of violence and the whole idea of envy and grudge. And that's what we were exposed to, and it caused us our land, and it caused us our culture. But in the meantime, the recovery now goes beyond just the biological. Within the war we fight, we must also recover our psychological, we must recover our spiritual. And that comes through the knowledge of self, that ancient form that has been here even before the Europeans. That's what we're trying to reconnect with, and it is driven by the I. So with all these various regions of the continent has contributed everything that this European world knows as technology, all the physics, the mathematics, all the sciences, all the rocket technology that is being exercised. The foundation of those things were grounded in a place called Africa, Kemet, Alkebulan, the Black Continent, Ethiopia, Egypt. All of these names reflect blackness. It is also in that place that the concept of one God was created. Yes, it was a creation, a concept of one God. It was an African. It was an ancient Egyptian. It was a king who came up with this philosophy to develop a concept of one God. And we have to recognize that before his presence, and his name is Akhenaton, Akhenaton. And Akhenaton ruled ancient Egypt in around the 18th dynasty. We're talking about 1300 years before the Christian era, before the birth of Jesus, and before Moses, and before all of these biblical characters, before Abraham and before Jehovah. There was Akhenaton with his beautiful wife Nefertiti. And Akhenaton was in the lineage of King Tut. And his name was really Amenhotep IV. And Amen, of course, was the name of the god that ruled Egypt. So his name was Amenhotep IV. But Egypt had a north and a south. One section was ruled by Amen, and the other section was ruled by Ra. And we have to understand the nature of gods and goddesses in ancient Africa. There was no supreme one god that dominated. There were gods and there were goddesses. And there was no creator god of all the gods. I'm yet to see any evidence that we upheld the concept of a creator, God of all gods. No supreme above all supreme, because cultures have their own perception and their own perceptions of origin. So that was a liberated process. There was no dogma within the concept of the gods and the goddesses. It is Akhenaten who came to the throne, and came to the throne at a young age and brought to Egypt a philosophy as a king. And if you bring a philosophy as a king, you are in a seriously mighty position to bring that philosophy to the public. So if the leader has a philosophy, he's going to filter it into the society. And what Akhenaten did was to begin to develop a philosophy that he thought would bring both Egypt together, the north and the south. And within his philosophy and developing of his writings and his literature, he took his mind and his eye off the aspect of power and ruling. So rather than concentrate on ruling Egypt and making sure that the territories that are under control remain under control, Akhenaten took his mind off of those things. And in doing so, it caused a lot of political upheaval in the states that Egypt controlled at a distance. He was advised by his military leaders that he must pay attention and put down not for the little uprising that was taking place in distant places. Akhenaten chose to develop a philosophy of love and unity and found a symbol that would unite both the north and the south of Egypt. This symbol he called the Aton. And the Aton was the physical representation of what he's going to call the one God. And he would unite the north and the south, Egypt. And he would bring the two gods under one umbrella. And Egypt was now ruled by Amen-Ra. In this context of creating a one God, we have to recognize the political aspects of its creation. It is really a political unity of two states under the umbrella of a one God. People, is a man create this ideology? It's a political ideology, the concept of one God. This ideology was promoted in ancient Egypt, that Amenhotep changed his name from Amenhotep to Akhenaten, putting on Aton as the final part of his name, representing the sun. And he began to preach the gospel of the one God, and that the one God was symbolic by the sun. This is at a time before even Moses. And Moses was actually born within this era, according to the literature, and learned about the concept of one God in ancient Egypt. But we need to recognize the origin of this idea, that when Christians and Muslims attack you about the one God, you need to know about the original construct of one God. It's a political unity pulling South and North Egypt into one rulership. It's not about any being up in the heavens controlling and dominating and directing the lives of African people. Metamorphosis.
Of an African.
So don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. No mind your nationality, I've got the identity of an African. Cause if you come from Trinidad, and if you come from Nassau, and if you come from Cuba, you are an African. So don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African. No mind your complexion, there is no rejection, you're an African. Cause if your flexion high, if your flexion low, and if your flexion in between, you're an African. So don't care where you come from.
So African people, or sometimes people misunderstand when we say African people. We think we're talking about the people from one particular country. African people are the people who comprise the entire continent. And I would like to challenge those who do what they call the census and the demographic research. They tell us that it is the Chinese people that have the biggest population in the world. Them say it's 1 billion Chinese. Me the man feels we have more African people in the world than Chinese. Yeah, we have more African people in the world. When we look at the people who are in Africa, when we look at the African people who are in the Caribbean, and the African people who are in the United Kingdom, when we look at African people who are scattered around the world, if we put them together, I'm sure we'd have far more millions of people than the Chinese. I think we're the most populous people on the planet, but because we are so scattered, and some are calling themselves brown, and some are calling themselves off-white, and all African Americans and Jamaican African and all sorts of hyphenations, we can get the consensus to know that we are the largest population on the planet. And in a war against this population, everybody must defend it. Yeah, we need to unify ourselves in this struggle at this bacterial level. We have to unify at the consciousness and the identity level. This is a fight, and the African people now that must take up the struggle. And it requires knowledge. Knowledge of the self, knowledge of physiology, knowledge of psychology, knowledge of the religion that have kept us at a level where we just like lamb to the slaughter. The chick we just going through, we just left, right, and center. People just drop down, boof, 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 boof. And no amount of prayer can take up the most righteous now. We have to be turning to science. We have to turn to plants, biology. Yeah, man, science. Not the thing that we've been afraid of, what them call white magic. We have to turn to black magic now, which is plant magic. The magic of the black people that liberates I and I from all sorts of dis-ease. Metamorphosis.
This is Styles FM.
Portlanders, Akan Auto Technology, located at 33 Bombrook Crescent, Port Antonio. Visit us for all your auto repair and servicing. We offer computerized wheel alignment, computerized wheel balancing, suspension checks, AC repair, inspection, and all your auto repair needs. For a complete auto repair and service, visit or call Akan Auto Technology today at 715-5205. And remember, we are located at 33 Bombrook Crescent.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, Styles FM 96.1.
Lumber, cement, steel, plyboard, plates, cups, shower curtain, sheet. Then this now go take me all day, man.
Daddy, mommy say I must go. I've been last depot.
I need to find somewhere with ample parking space, gives discounts, does delivery, and has the most courteous staff.
Why, Daddy Duffy?
Yes, Builders Depot, right at Industrial Estate, Longwall in Barnes Bay. I call them at 715-3128 or 284-3337.
Because me I tell him, because Builders Depot over there so.
Check them out.
Builders Depot, once you need it, we have it.
Hey, this is me, Brother Gary. I tell you, if you want to advertise anything you have, if you sell anything, truck, car, bus, anything you're keeping, make sure you advertise the past Styles FM. Call this number 439-5160. 439-5160. And I guarantee you, everybody I go in your business.
Africa had great kings and queens you should know. Search your history, it will show. If you know not from whence you came, you are doomed to live in shame.
Great kings of Africa, rulers all about. They were mighty, brave and strong, tore every barriers down. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Now let no one fool you. Great was Shaka Zulu. The British army never did see such a fierce warrior as he.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Afonso of the Congo region adopted for his people the Christian religion, never bowing to what was paid, united his people against the slave trade.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Akhenaten, the first man to tell that the God is one, carved the theology that men could see, that the Almighty was no mystery.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa.
Yeah, we're continuing. Muta Baruch and Aine Kamoze, Great Kings of Africa. Oh, I don't spend a good time on Akhenaten, you know, because them confuse us with the biblical kings. I make a feel guys like David and Solomon as men we must rate up. Call Solomon wisest man. And much of Solomon's psalms were plagiarism of Akhenaten's writings. You need to know the original psalm, you know. It's coming from King Akhenaten, this handsome African man who come to the throne at a time when philosophy wasn't really the methodology of the leaders. It was all about control and, you know, war and maintaining power. I mean, what before, as I say, change his name. And what he really did now was to change up the money system now. Because within the religions, all of these various gods were controlled by various sects and priests. And all the people had to give offerings to the various gods. So the money would be going to these various, let's just call them for lack of different word, various churches that were being led by these various gods of nature. What Akhenaten did now was to change up the monetary system. By developing the one God concept, now all the collection come to him. So the rest of the priests them screw, you know. Yeah, man, because the one God mash up the money business. So Akhenaten now control the resources of the state. And the people would bring their offerings, as they do, to the one God. The rest of the man, them plot against Akhenaten. The man, them wage war against Akhenaten because this was what we're going to call a revolutionary. It was actually called the Revolution of Armana. It was called the Armana Revolution. And this revolution is critical in the knowledge of understanding African people and black people where we are today. This revolution was bringing in the philosophy of monotheism as a dominant ideology in ancient Egypt. Because previous to that, it was a polytheistic society. And Akhenaten and his wife focused on creating this unity. And the unity would come through the people in worshiping this one God. And the one God now was symbolic of the life force, the creator force, and that was manifested in the sun, the S-U-N, not the hijacked S-O-N that the Christian faith is calling upon. So the one God now philosophy is an African thing. It was a creation by a king called Akhenaten. I want the ones I want, go and check him out. Check out his life. Check out his wife. The influence that she had on him, because he couldn't do those things without Queen Nefertiti by his hands. So long time we know, so even within the one God philosophy, man and woman remain connected. It's a mutual thing. In today's world, as the Africans are fighting on the continent, it's about the Christian one God versus the Islamic one God. So is it the same one God, or is it two different gods? You see, if we don't sort ourselves out, we will continue to massacre one another in the name of God. Not sure which God we're really worshiping, and forgetting the origin of the concept of one God. And in forgetting, we also forget the divinities of ancient Africa. Ma'at, Osiris, Nut. We lose the pantheon of gods and goddesses that guide us. Well, disconnect ourselves from the ancestors. And we're now holding on to this one God hanging somewhere beyond Uranus, beyond our solar system, outside the galaxy, beyond the Milky Way. Yeah, that's where they say heavens rests.
My brothers and my sisters, now this is a message of love. Oh, yeah. And if only everyone learned to live in love and unity, then things would be better. Not only things would be better, but the world would be better. All right.
You can abolish slavery if you abolish the master. And the master that we're speaking about now is the one that is deeply embedded into the psyche of the African people. This master called God. Yeah, this one God now that is master. And to who reverence is given to. And who not only reverence, under who fear, that is controlled by fear. This one God that has been driven into the minds of black people through force and violence. And this one God has been given characteristics, human characteristics. Primary one, jealousy, foundation of insecurity. So this is what has been drilled into I and I. Insecurity. And so the foundation of our mistrust. Yet we are believing in this one God. It's time to reflect, because I see the Ebola thing, it is real. It is real. It's not imaginary. It may not be near, but it's certainly not very far. So if we begin to think it out, we recognize that we have African scientists who are finding cures for this thing. And they're being repressed and suppressed by forces. These forces we know operate primarily out of three centers. The forces that trying to wage this war against us operate out of the Vatican, operate out of London, operate out of Washington. We know that those are critical centers of control. And we know that Africa is the prize. But there are people on the continent, I African people, and apparently we need to make way, but we're not leave. We're not leave. And we have scientists and plant scientists who are finding cures to these viruses. Even though the cures are being repressed, it's coming out. And we're going to know more about ourselves. Getting us some message on the text that I still read them. Quite a few texts coming in. People paying attention to what's going on and have their own observations of how to rally as black people. Because it's about being black now. Yeah, it's about being an African. It's about standing up for your identity, because war is against the identity of the African. But if you look at it that way, this is what they meant when they said backs against the wall. I hate this. And it's being spread. And we have to watch it. The government make some lame responses. I am so incensed. I never used to speak about how the government of Jamaica operate. But this thing forcing Iman to look at all things. And here the Prime Minister tell us that, well, she not going nowhere no more. And her minister's not going anywhere. What does that mean? The thing is coming here. No matter whether you go nowhere now. The thing is coming here. What is the preparation? How many machines we have to test for fever? Do we have them in sufficient numbers and people trained to read? Hey, we're heading into a quarantine world, you know. All I said to them, you know, you see if you ever travel going away, and then put the machine in front of you for it and read overheat, them gone with you. Yeah, man. As the states of quarantine people. And the military now will become very critical, you know. Because the military will have to enforce these regions that are going to be quarantined. Talk about the military state globally. Watch it. Yeah, so the war is on to reclaim Africa according to Europeans. They want Africa Not only do the white men want Africa, but the Chinese have a deep interest in Africa. Everybody have an interest in Africa, you know. There's only the African people on the outside don't know what's going on, and the ones on the inside are so heavily invested in Jesus, them can't see them own self. So we have a lot of things to do and recognize what is at stake. The war is on, and Africa is the prize. We have the philosophy of religion, but we have to make the distinction now between the philosophy and the religion, because it is a religion that is causing the division. And this whole religion is driven by the philosophy of one God. And this one God is still the image of a white man. When all is said and done, this one God is the image of a white man who was a son. And we have been confused now because we have been taken away from the original concept of the S-U-N. And we've been given this mythology of a son of Nazareth, son of Jesus, the son of Mary and Joseph. Now, how many out there really know about a man named Clark Kent? Anybody know Clark Kent? Clark Kent is a character that has been created in the world of comics. And in that creation, that character has evolved into a next character now called Superman. And I'm saying today, we have to be careful now how we're embracing this Jesus character, because this may not be so much different from Clark Kent. Creations of literature. And we are confused thinking that the creator force would send a S-O-N to save African people. African people have been their own salvation long before the creation of this concept. What is puzzling, telling the item, is how is it we hang on to this one God? Why are we fearful of liberating ourselves from that concept? What is the fear? Is it still about heaven and hell? Is it about the soul? Well, you know what I'm starting to look into now? The soul of the foot. I hear a little child today being convinced that the soul of the foot is S-O-L-E. And I'm sitting there wanting to interfere, you know, but I choose not to. And I really reflected on it and I recognize, you know something? We do have a soul, you know, but the soul is really, you know, our foot bottom. That is really where the soul of man is, you know. Yeah, that's why you have a foot soul. And if you ever check out the relation between the foot and the earth, and the connection between the soul and the earth, and the vibration between the earth and the soul of your feet, you know, say that whole concept of soul in your heart is another illusion. Yeah, man, we really have the souls at our feet. But it's ignorance and misconceptions that people now are trying to save them soul, because that soul now is what the one God wants to preserve. You see, so we don't need a one God. We have to check and ask the question, who needs it? Each other. Who needs who more? Do African people need the one God, or the one God need African people? Who need who more? Have we not been existing for people before this concept of Jehovah? Do we not have our history and our culture? The Dogon spoke about the Nomos and origin of black people in the Sirius constellation. The people of Southern Africa have their own cultural history. So we do have to be locked into the Egyptian version of a creation. And we have to be locked into the Egyptian construct of gods and goddesses. All African cultures had their gods and goddesses. But for free we say from this one Bucky Master God now, that Africans have separated themselves between Christians and Muslims, and they're fighting and killing each other in the name of that one God. We don't need that type of self-destruction. Liberation. Of course, healing up Sister Dale, healing up Splash FM 94.3 out there in New Jersey, and all the people who are connected to Splash in Hillside and Montclair and East and West and North and South Orange and those places. Virgin on the text tell me that the Africans, we are African scientists. I'm also saying that the Africans have discovered nano silver treatment. But Washington has a patent on it, fighting down the Africans for freeing themselves because of the power of the pharmaceuticals and money. They never did care about I. That's why they put us through the Middle Passage. No, it's a different war. Same subjects, African people. The whole thing now come down to Africa. But concentrating on Africa. The propaganda machine giving us the feeling that Africa now is the birthplace of all things devastating. All destructive things they say come out of Africa. All the diseases and all the things they don't tell us who go there and experiment with the things them and create them. But they just use Africa as a great big lab. And in that laboratory all things are experimented with, even maybe the creation of the first clones, where Africans created these beings between themselves and the ape men. The links between the genetics of African people and the primates. All these experiments took place on the continent. So we know that the place is a scientific ground. But the Europeans have used it now to breed up all sorts of things, so perhaps fight against the Africans themselves. Now, so we need our scientists. No people of religion can't come out now. No crusade can't stop what's going on now. Crusade going to encourage it by people coming together and mingling and passing on them virus and them germs. So religion, we have to take a back seat now and allow thinking process and science and technology that the Africans bring to the earth. Because we bring these things to the earth, you know, and they make us afraid of it now. But it's going to become an important part of the solution. We must have the knowledge. And the knowledge doesn't rest in superstition. We have to have the technical insights. We have to move away from the fear of losing our soul and the fear of going to hell, because we are presently in a serious hell condition. And so the one God concept now, I'll finalize that discussion now, is that why does this one God need offerings? I'm always perplexed. Why is it the people must give offering to the one God? And the offering comes down to money. Why do we give our economics to the one God? Why does God need money? Money that we work for. And the church am organized to siphon off from the people 1/10 of their income. They call it tithing. So the government take 3/10 for taxes. And the rent man take 3/10 And food and transportation and anything else take the next 3/10. And that's all of your money. You never have anything to save. You never have anything to invest. If I and I was saving that 10% and banking it and investing it, we would have far away out of the poverty that we are in today. But the one God has held us. The one God manifesting as Allah. The one God manifesting as Jehovah. The one God sending a son named Jesus. The other one sending a prophet named Muhammad. And the African people fighting to the death over these two images. So there is this one God that inspired men to write. Never inspired many women, you know. Always I wonder how that one God behaved so. Was that one God really a sexist? Always inspiring men. But him always entering women as the Holy Spirit. Never enter man. I'm gonna explore the behavior now of this one God, you know. I know the one God work. I have a spirit that enter women, fling them down on the ground, make them jump up and down and go on crazy. And then them inspire men to write. And the man them write some things. Fantastic writings. How can a drunken man writing? And these writings have been put together now by other drunken men. And so we have a collection of drunken writings. And we say that they are the words of God. And people who hold this dearly. You know, I was on Titchfield. I met a white woman today, tell me that she's from Florida. And she loved Jamaica because the people are just so bouncy. Always vibesy. Anyway, she get me into the Bible talk. And of course, she was disappointed that I told her that I didn't believe in God. And she was shocked because all Rastas believe in God. I didn't really want to shake up any further, you know, because I had to first clarify the difference between belief and knowledge. And then we had to go further now to explain to her that the one God that she talking about maybe is not one God that I talking about, because that one God make her feel happy right now in Jamaica visiting and vacationing, and that me, you know, in Jamaica, I wonder about the disease and the virus, and we're confused. Well, she decided to just kind of end the conversation politely, because apparently I wasn't being accommodating enough. Because when people think that you're not a part of the one God philosophy, you know, them don't know what to deal with you. Yeah, because the one God is the ultimate bucket master, you know. Once you can move away from the shadow of that almighty one God, you know, you're really free. Yeah, it's a bold step, you know, to step out of the almighty shadow. Because that shadow has been over the race for about 2,000 years. That we get accustomed to it. And we feel funny if it ever move. But you see, when the shadow move, all going to hit you is sunshine. Pure energy. Pure energy. And that's how it is when you move from under the shadow. The shadow now is created by the writings. And in his writings now, the word of God seems to be manifest in 2 books. Again, one for the Muslims and one for the Christians. Yeah, 2 books now. So this one God now, that's smart, one God, you know. You can see the Virgin that's smart. And we'll set up these 2 books. I'm inspired these different set of men to write these 2 books. These men get war with one another, you know, and the one God know, you know. The one God know a long time, so the 2 books them going to cause a clash. Him set it up. So you see, so the one God is a warrior, brother, you know, no unity, you know, it's a war God. And this God now we know was created through the imagery of Moses and Abraham and that philosophy. We have to see where the thing come from, you know, that we will let it go. We let it go completely. And what we're holding on to is nothing. Because we need to learn about detachment. This holding on thing is an illusion. That's why we fall into this thing called love. We want to hold on. We need to develop the philosophy of letting go. Yeah, man. Detachment. Let go certain things. And what is it that you really need? You shall attract to thyself again. Metamorphosis.
Waiting to pull trigger. I'm so eager.
So we're working it out now within the deconstructing of the mythologies and the thing that they give us now as Islam versus Jehovah. But that is a great thing set up by the puppet master now, you know. Because wars are being fought at a physical level right now. Guns and ammunition and bombs dropping just through this, you know. Yeah, where Jehovah claims the people who worship him deserve to possess a certain amount of territory, land. You see now? So them two gods, you know, what deal with is a power struggle, you know. And it's about land and people and resources. And those who are directing the power now, we're not seeing those hands. We're not seeing who directing the one God, you know. We're not seeing the effect of the one God and his two and the derivatives. So the African people now, we don't really have much time normally to explore these things, you know, because as we're saying now, they have us on a treadmill. We're busy trying to pay the bills, working from can't see a day to can't see at night. And so we don't have the space to think. We're following blindly because of belief. But the Muslim and the Christian have to realize the plot is a plot. And African people must realize that I is a victim. Because Islam invaded Africa, you know. And it was followed by Christianity. So the two of them is nothing have to do with black people. They're two colonizing forces. Both of them are colonizing. One may be a little bit more humane. And the other one more racist. Both of them oppress women. Both of them are sexist. So we have to free ourselves as black people from them mythologies there of superiority, of the male being superior to the female because she came out of a rib. Rib means joke, you know. That means she's a joke. Yeah, the woman is a joke. In African tradition, the woman is the head. Joke business. When she laugh, the man can laugh too. You see, when she's serious, make the man try laugh. Some reach him.
Seduce to reduce my knowledge, because I will always break those barriers and burn down bandage. Oh Lord God Almighty, grant me all privilege. You see, I have to overcome all the wicked. Them and them false things. I have no white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who the white God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black messiah. A white God that bless, so him not blesses. I have no white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who the white God save me from white man oppression? I have no white God. It's just a black messiah. If a white God that bless, so him not bless. I want what is rightful mine, so I'm not stay mute. Your system is designed to distract me from the truth, but it will come to pass. Unknown and to the youth. In the process of time, we will know the truth. To give we white God to praise in slavery. The doctrine follow on in the black community. The black messiah you try to shield with fantasy, but we not gonna make you destroy the love with luxury. That's why you have to touch home. I have no place in Babylon. As I go, they make me victim of their unjust action. Oh God, I won't be conquered in this region. Oh yes, I have to stand and go strong. Don't tell me of your white God. Don't teach me anything wrong. Who the white God save me from white man oppress? I am no white God. It's just a black messiah. White God that bless you, him not bless.
So is it possible that this one God is an illusion? A total illusion. A fantasy spelled with P-H-A-N-T-A-S-Y. Because remember, no, it's a construction, it's a concept. And there are concepts that are illusionary. They're not grounded in reality. So we have this one God above. And we have this one God now, we have these various two denominations. But the Oriental man now, and the Indian man, somehow they don't fit under the one God notion. Because they are not struggling to get into that one God's heaven. Nor are they afraid of that one God's hell. So we have to see that this is not a universal one God, it's a particular one God. It's a particular one God created by a particular set of people to control another set of people. The Indians are free from the one God concept. They have their many gods and goddesses. And as much as Christianity try to push on the Indians, they can push away their gods. The Indian does accept some of the Christian philosophy, but they don't get rid of the Indian gods and goddesses. The same thing happens to the Chinese. The white man have been pushing hard to get the Christianity into the Chinaman. And the Chinaman has been wise enough to reject that Christianity and maintain his dominance in the world. If him join that, him going to mash up, you know. Yeah, man, if him join that, him done. Because the Chinaman will lose his self-reliance. And 1 billion of them now will start leaning upon Jesus. What a piece of confusion. Chinaman stronger, leaning upon himself and his culture. Indians are doing the same thing. And we speak to the African people now, why is it we so lean up on the white man culture? Why we so hung up on fast food? The things that the European create. We must respect what is created, but we must have greater reverence for what comes out of our own self. So we are saying within the metamorphosis that the one God is a construction of our own great king, Akhenaten. The difference in that one God and the Moses God is that Akhenaten's one God was a God of mercy, a God of justice, and a God who recognized that man was perfect and moving towards even greater perfection. Moses God now tell you about man who was imperfect, who was born in sin and shaped in iniquity, and will always be suffering. No, me know another one day, no people. Me no join the line there, no. Me no handle that kind of leadership there, no, you know. We want to stay under the leadership where there is mercy and truth. So the one God have to be the God of Akhenaten. If we begin to find ways to dismiss this Abrahamic, Mosaic thing round the neck that make us warlike and jealous and bad-minded. It's a foundation, you know. There was no bad mind in ancient Egypt. God, the God of ancient Egypt was the sun. And the sun is the creation, the source of all life. No bad mind. Meditation, positive. They're now attacking the whole race.
Father, I my way guidance and we see this
Yeah, it's a tall journey, and African people need to recognize that it's a different battle. It's a battle not only for the mind, no, it's a battle also for the territory again. The territory is the landmass. And we need the people to be conscious. And when you hear people talk about Ebola in West Africa, by now we must recognize the vastness of West Africa and that Ebola has really covered the whole place. Just the same way they don't tell us Ebola in America. But Ebola is in Texas, and it's in Nebraska. They have said that even a former prisoner has been diagnosed as suspected. They said the thing I run wild and I'm on serious concern. I never really saw concern about anything in a long time. Just that, or even maybe before. Because this thing is moving at rates beyond exponentially. The thing is increasing. We're looking at a global situation, and the healing is being controlled by the powerful forces because the African scientists are coming up with their own plant solutions to this thing, but it's being repressed because it's about money. It's about the pharmaceutical companies demonstrating their power. And the power is over life and death. And the life is the life of the African people. We have to decide whether we're going to be pawns in this struggle or whether we're going to organize and find a way to resist. The methodology now of resistance is something we have to work out. But places like Washington and London and the Vatican are keenly interested in what's going on. We're not hearing anything from those forces. And we realize that the whole idea of patents for these medicines, there's an attempt to corner that. And in cornering that, those patents now, millions of people could simply just perish. So we have to go around the people who just trying to make money out of the death of black people. And develop our own science. And push it out. So this is the back against the wall, you know. This is the back against the wall, the proverbial back against the wall. And we're bucking up into power forces, forces that are driven by race, forces that are driven by money. The power that we have to turn to for our solution is not in religion. It's not in no Jesus, it's not in Muhammad, it's not in no Jehovah nor Allah. Our solution rests in the power of nature. In the plants, particularly. Because the plants have the healing. What was it that saved the white men during the bubonic plague? The bubonic plague that decimated Europe. What was it? And where did they get the medicine from? Yeah, think about it.
You know
Hey, what's going on? Enough things going on, but I'm going to start about things that are going on off of the earth first. Because the earth alone, earth done complicated and mixed up and quarantined already. Above us now, people, above us, in the heavens, where some people want to escape, thinking that it is a salvation to the turmoil on the earth. Hey, you see above is very busy, you know. Well, let me tell you what just come down from above. You know that there was a plane traveling around the earth for over 600 days. A special plane built by the United States Air Force and the NASA. It just break the record for traveling non-stop. 670 days. And then just decided to bring it down now. No, I don't know what it was doing up there. Most people have no idea what it was doing. Research and surveying and all sorts of military experimentation in the atmosphere. Looking at us down here. The man have some things above. Then there was a disturbance in China, in Hong Kong, and then the people them say a UFO right above them. They just come and park above them for about 20 minutes and just drive off. And then now some people on a cruise liner say a UFO just park over them head too for about 10-15 minutes and look down upon them and just drive off. Now you see what's going on above? We better pay attention. We better pay attention because you see, years ago, meaning like in the 1600s, these same white men who were coming out of the caves never knew anything about the heavens. No knowledge about the heavens. They must coming out of the earth, out of the dirt. And as they climbed up and began to look and saw things in the night, they were perplexed. How did those lights get out there? And they've always had a curiosity as to what is out there. Now, I and the African people know who have been out there so often and have come here now, coming like we have lost our memory. And the European now has gone full ahead to search for where we come from. Because him knows that we don't come from no garden. Him knows that him write a story there. And him give to you and tell us we come out of a garden and need you up here. Him now pursuing to find out where we really come from. And in that pursuit, he has gone to West Africa and he has met the Dogons. The Dogons have told him about Orion, that he has now named his next set of spacecraft Orion. And he has a great amount of interest in Mars and in Cyrus. So something going on out there, people. So much of the world's resources would not be directed to get to Mars, for example. The Chinaman is on the moon now, you know. Yeah, him set up on the moon and him have him thing and take him picture and thing, and him also has uncovered knowledge about the cosmos. No, this has nothing to do with no one God. This has to do with the infinite universe. And these scientists know that there is no beginning to the cosmos, that there is no demarcation where you can drop out of space. They understand that. They understand the power of infinite energy. Boundless. And in the exploration now, the man them training human beings to colonize the planet Mars. Them doing enough research to know that they can create oxygen there without any plants. That's what the man them reach in them research. They are not fearful about going to hell. They are not worried about their souls being condemned. Because they know that whatever is beyond the beyond is beyond. And so the pursuit of knowledge is giving Christendom a hard time. The idea of the world being created in 6 days now is becoming absurd because of the vastness of the cosmos. And if you realize that there was life on Mars, then it destroys the God of the Bible. Because Mars then would have to have its own creator. And then man would not be the only creation. And the story mash up. And the people them turn to war because they realize that they've been lied to for centuries. They've been lied to about this almighty one God that they must give their money to and their offering, and he will protect them. African people, we need protection now. Is it the same one God that's saved the Queen? Or is it the same one God that bless America? But I and I must not call upon. Because if that is the case, we're dead.
Styles FM, you're my number one. Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
Time to rock. We're gonna be rocking Jamaican radio like there's never been rocked before. 96.1 on your FM, man. Styles FM. Don't you miss it. Saturday morning from 9 o'clock until 1 on the PM. Yours truly, Colin Anthony, the man with all the money on it. Takes the way with the music. Yes, Styles trivia, news, features, and much more. We've got it in store. Don't you miss it. Every Saturday morning, live on Styles 96.1, the People Station. We've got a plan. You've got a plan. Colin Anthony.
For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, Native Audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound, Native Audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events audible.
Take us to work. Take us on the go. Take us wherever you go. Styles FM.
Take Styles FM with you on the go. The number for USA 213-992-4360. That's 213-992-4360. And for the United Kingdom, 033-0010-3322. That's 033-0010-3322.
Styles FM.
Yeah, we're continuing. Rastafari must live. Times are crucial. All African people know, all black people have to see the similarity rather than our differences. We are pigmented people. And the war is on against the people of pigment. So whether you have brown pigment or red pigment or black pigment, you got the pigment. And it is the pigmentation that is disturbing the people who don't have it. Pigmentation is a force that I need to explore. What are the powers of pigmentation? We see it manifested in the plants. What are those powers as they manifest in African people? The pigment of the skin is vital. And we don't do enough time in our studies exploring that aspect of our being, the power of our pigment. Now we see the world engaging in wars in many different levels, and the war in Iraq and Syria is vital to the overall status of the world affairs, meaning this group that has been constructed called ISIS is the biggest threat that the white world has seen, because this is an Islamic force. Again, it's a religious struggle. We will not lose the focus of this one God struggle between these two forces. ISIS represents the gathering of all the discontented and all those who felt the wrath of America from the days of the bombing of Afghanistan and the shock and awe of Iraq and the devastation of the people of those regions. Many persons have gathered in unity against the great devil called America. And in this fight, they have secured land, which is the basis of their resources. And they have taken on the force that really helped to create them. Because we need to know that ISIS was funded by the United States and the CIA government in an attempt to overthrow the Syrian leader. It has backfired. And the Syrian leader remains in power, and ISIS has now expanded itself into a tremendous state. And it's about to take on American boys in boot-to-boot combat. So the American people must be ready to receive the bodies again. The trauma on the American population of the young boys returning handicapped and psychologically devastated by war that these grown white men organize. They should send the leaders to fight when they want to create a war. The leaders should fight. Yeah, man, them should thump up one another. You don't have to send young boys to die. It's them, man, they should go in the arena and the public watch. So you want to fight Assad, and Clinton and Barack is the man, take him on. The Palestinian and the Israeli, Netanyahu, take on the leader of since you don't want to fight. And save the people the trauma. And save the country the resources, since you love war so much. But the ISIS struggle is real. ISIS has a lot of, even Americans who have felt a level of disrespect to the American government, the way the American government deal with them. They have now joined these forces. So this thing is wider than Al-Qaeda. This thing is also in America. And ISIS is everywhere. Yeah, man, ISIS is going to surround America, inside and outside. We hear of youths in the Caribbean who have become recruits to this ISIS movement. And I'm wondering if a recruitment is not about to take place in even a place like Jamaica. Because we have so-called lot of shatters here. Maybe they want to fire shot from some real situations. But if you look at what's going on, ISIS war is not a simple war. And America will be fighting these forces until they finally buckle. It's a serious force, and it's a religious force. It is Islam. And America is a symbol of democracy, capitalism, and Christianity. And that is the battle within this time. Yeah, we'll see where the Russian President Putin is making the rest of the world and Barack Obama know that he's not afraid to use his nuclear weapons. Yes, him, the man who look like him now ramp with them other white man there, you know, because this is one white man who thinks that they are perhaps part of the supremacy of the white people. Yeah, the Russians are a different kind of man still, you know, not really the typical European. Many Africans helped to build that Russian culture, you know, Pushkin and great writers and Hannibal and them man, they pass through them places, they, you know, get the Russian a kind of culture that people don't recognize the blackness of enough of Russia, you know. Yeah, man, them have enough blackness in them literature, African feel, vibrations. So them have a kind of resistance to these other Europeans. And the leader is making them know, say, look, I have pulled back my troops from the Ukrainian border. But if you continue to harass, I shall fire. So the Third World War is on. There are people who will tell you that World War III is on, but because it has not been declared, naive people are thinking that all is well. There's also the war that has been going on in Israel, another nuclear armed state. And there's a confrontation now between India and Pakistan, which are also nuclear armed states. The world is in a serious state of war, nuclear, chemical, biological, spiritual, economical. We need to resist, and the organization comes to a retreat into culture, which is African.
We don't want no nuclear war. With nuclear war, we won't get far. I say that we don't want no nuclear war. With nuclear
Rastafari never leave I alone. So even when the road get rocky, me say me never give up. I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going get tough, I said the tough get going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Whoa, whoa, whoa. A lot of youths in life say them can't take the pressure no more. But from your trust in the most high life, I go get better, I'm sure. The youth juggle on the roadside, Babylon say fi take up your bag and way. Boy, but we still not give up. Me say we solid as a rock like Kalanje. Not give up. I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going get tough, I said the tough gets going. One juggle your fruit, don't give up. I said there ain't no giving.
So we hear that Farrakhan now locally, Minister be here speaking at the National Arena on Sunday. I have my own personal misgivings about this kind of gathering in a time like this. And if the message is about blackness, then we don't need to hear about no one God philosophy. We don't want to hear about no Islamic God. We don't want to hear about no Christian God. Because those are the two forces that are keeping us in bondage. So we don't want no more God talk. We want to talk about economic liberation. We want to talk about how we're going to build our hemp industries. Yeah, we don't want no more irie talk. Because the talk is not a solution in this time. So we welcome all visitors here, but we have our own concerns. Yeah, and we don't know why this talk wasn't held in a place like Trinidad, where there is a Muslim gathering and a fraternity. You know, the Muslim leader was banned at the national airport in Jamaica and was sent back home. The government think that he's a threat to security if he was to be here at the same time with Farrakhan. We don't know what is the conspiracy between these alleged conspiracy, but we're there and we're watching the movements and we're concerned about our health. So the meditation is that people are being organized to get on these buses that will take them free to the arena, and they will get the message, and then when they leave and go home, they should feel empowered. We don't know empowered in what way, but you know, this 1 million man march This is the 19th anniversary. 19 years later, black man in America is no necessarily better off. 19 years later, there is a Zimmerman, and there's a Darren Wilson, and there are black people being shot left, right, and center. And we don't know if the effects of that 19 years ago is anything positive that we can see in this point in time. So I don't sure what the celebration is about, but from his black people gathering, there can be positivity. Positively.
Yes, wow. Still I see I give me the remedy, the fire figure burn. After the tables turn, give me the remedy, the fire figure blaze. Burn Babylon dirty way. Hey, shot. Eternal fire, dirty Babylon, you are gonna get bruised. Me I want them fire. I said they just can't win, you're going to lose. Me I want them.
I said to heal the night nurse in the various places. Hail to all the taxi drivers who carry the people during these hours. Hail to all the essential workers who keep the system at a fundamental moving here and abroad. Doctors, nurses, lawyers. These are essential people, not lawyers. Doctors, firemen, taxi drivers. Hailing all those people in Port Antonio, Anata Bay, St. Mary. And in the people in the internet world, we give thanks for your connection on the various continents and spaces where you are, holding your meditation, thinking out the root of this blackness that we are in.
Better them give me yaki and garlic. Pass me a map and a compass on ya. Make me show them say saltfish no come from on ya. The fish they come a far away. They bring him all the way from Norway. Hey, I could the rest of them a try for trick. That can't be me national. This a eternal fire. And dirty Babylon you a go get bruised. Me a want them fire. I said they just can't win, you're going to lose. Sunny killer want them move. Yeah. I beg you pack up and go. Me I tell you. I beg you move. Quick, pack up and go. Tell me why. Every time I hear about Africa, I shackles and chains. Tell me why. You try to corrupt the liquor Rasta man brain. And if you tell the youth them say Africa exists long before the middle passage. Me come to tell you get to use them for wise because Babylon a brainwash the masses a fire. And dirty Babylon you will go get bruised. We a want them fire. I said they just can't win, you're going to lose. And we a want them. I tell you pack up and go. Me a beg you move. I said we pack up and go. Why yo?
alongside Usain Bolt, but here he goes, streaking away already. It's Bolt all the way, he's looking round at Gay. Watch the clock, it's goal for Bolt, and again, he's done
sports here on the Metamorphosis. We're going to look into the big ball because that's a dominant sport that is on the scene right now, what we call football. In America, football is the game that they use to, they call it pigskin. The gridiron is what the Americans call football. And they call what we call football soccer. So the international world calls it football. And we go along the international lines. It's a dominant game now. The European leagues are on, the Spanish leagues are on, the international players are all occupied by their clubs, and the competition is on in full earnest. Of course, locally, our top league is our club league. We call it the National Premier League. Presently, there's a competition called the Flow Champions League, Champions Cup, and it is in process, involving teams that are playing in our top league. It's a knockout, and we look to see who really eventually wins that. The real energy, though, and excitement right now is in our schoolboy football. It's the most dynamic competition in the island, and it's a competition that I need to explain to some of our listeners that as much as the country claims that our schools are for education, primarily, the schools are involved in competitions that are mimicking professional football. These same high schools who we hear was concentrating on getting the students good passes. In the same breath, the principals are getting involved in organizing major competitions that look like professional football. This year, they've introduced something called the Champions Cup among schoolboys. No, but we realize what we're doing now, you know, these are boys who are students, and they are being forced to play so many games per week in such a short span of time. Not even the professionals in Europe have that type of schedule. And everybody turned a blind eye. It's exploitation of youth talent. It's exploitation for the glory of the ego of the coaches and the principals. A Champions League now is all about trying to mimic what they see in Europe. And they have crossed over the Manning Cup and the DaCosta Cup competitions to bring out what the DaCosta Cup should bring out and what the Olivia Shield should bring out. But it's all about more money at the expense of these youngsters who are being exploited, and then when the grades are not sufficient, they are told that they can't perform anymore and they must now be turned out. We are creating our own problems. We are exploiting our schoolboy football without recognizing that we're treating it professionally, but hypocritically we keep claiming that it's recreational. And so there's this two-sided approach to schoolboy football, where the boys are being exploited as professionals, yet they are being told that they're students and they must all get a certain amount of grades. The country's football can't progress because when these players leave the schools, the clubs are not professional. So the schoolboys are professional, and they leave a professional settings and step into an amateur big club. It's a serious step down for our young players. Now, of course, in the Eastern region, the Eastern teams have basically been eliminated. And I'm going to suggest again that for football in the Eastern Confederation to improve, it needs structural realignment. The confederations will have to support the idea of St. Thomas and Portland having one FA, in the same way Kingston and St. Andrew has one FA. St. Thomas and Portland will have to organize to unite at the federation level. That will strengthen their club and their school play. The same thing will happen in St. Mary and St. Anne's. Revolutionary thinking to transform this dead area called the Northeast. The Confederation is the weakest in the country. So I am supporting the notion and suggesting that if we unified two parishes, it will bring out the best of both areas, at the school and the club level. Metamorphosis. And before we even go into any more music, there's an important takeover happening in Kingston's football. This is the Santos Football Club, one of the oldest clubs in the country. Santos has a rich legacy, but for years Santos has not been able to rise to the Premier League level. One of its ancient founders, Winston Chung, has made himself available to support the club again. He has brought in a new political arrangement, and so now there's a political battle between the caretaker named Spanner and Chung Fa and his fresh set of administrators. Well, I am hoping for the better, and the better would be that Santos gets a new life and that the Chung Fa and his crew be given a chance to resurrect Santos. Santos will attract support from all around the world and will be a good injection at this time for our local football. Metamorphosis.
Get
This is Leroy and Rocky on the Heptones. Hear that, Nurse B? Heal up to all the forces on Titsfield Hill. Forces around Bombrook. Ranch Hill. Harbour View. Spain Town. Gale. St. Mary. Buff Bay. Portland. Accra, Ghana, Nairobi, Kenya. Ontario, Toronto, California, Florida, New York City, and its adjoining areas. Metamorphosis. Yes, leadership is needed in this time, without a doubt. And somehow, in all the mix-up and the bangarang going down, I get this serious feeling from inside that it is the people are expecting some form of leadership out of Rastafari. Whether Rastafari is conscious enough of it, his capacity to lead in this time is a different thing, but people are looking for solutions. And solution rests in the consciousness of those who are aware of what's going down and how long now it's been going down and how do we get past ego. Because the African has been locked into this Sigmund Freud concept of ego. And ego seems to be overpowering the collectivity. It's a heavy psychology. The me is me. If it wasn't because of me, and it's me, and it can't work because of me, and I'm going to show you say it can't work because of me, and I'm going to take for myself for show you say it can't work because of me. Now we've been locked into this me syndrome for the longest time. Rastafari come forward with the I and I. And the I and I moves beyond me to a construct that is intangible, to a construct that is invisible, but to a concept that is potent and forceful, called spirit. And the spirit was taken from this mystical zone to the realm of I and I. And so if the people now begin to think more along the realm of I and I, we will get to I and I, which is the collective. So we're struggling for leadership. And His Majesty has given us a blueprint or a black print for leadership. And all those who are interested in leadership should read the speech of His Imperial Majesty given to college students in the University of Addis Ababa. I think it's the most potent speech written about leadership. I think many of the people in the world who are leaders have had some glance at it. I doubt if the people of Jamaica, I doubt if our leaders have ever read anything from His Majesty about leadership. Because if they did, the country would never be running like this. So we're recommending ones and ones to read the speech by His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie on leadership. And recognize that leaders are people who raise the standard that surround them and raise the standard by which other people judge them. That is the key to leadership. It's not about dominating and bullying others and forcing others to bend their will. It's about understanding the people and what their desires are and putting the people's desires ahead of your personal desire. It requires a relearning. Because much of I leaders have been programmed by Rome to simply carry out the dictates and maintain the status quo. We need revolutionary leaders who will challenge the status quo, challenge the slave system, challenge what has been given as norm. Things like believing in fairy godmother, believing in fairies, believing in myths, losing the power of knowledge. I have to recommend that I begin to read and reason. And reasoning don't mean you're trying to win. There's no winning in reasoning. When you debate, there's a winner and a loser. But in a debate, there is no basis for truth. Because in a debate, you only say what has to be said to win a point. So if you have to tell a lie or twist the truth, so be it. But you see, when we reason to come to a knowledge that is upright and positive and conscious. So we can engage in more reasoning and less debating. More reasoning, less quarreling. Because you can sight up the power of leadership through reasoning.
Warning. The Surgeon General warns. Cigarette smoking is dangerous. Dangerous. Hazard to your health. Does that mean anything to you? Them legalize marijuana. Right here in Jamaica, yeah. Them say it cured glaucoma, yeah. I'm an the bush doctor, yeah. So there'll be no more smoking and feeling tense. When I see them I come, I don't have to jump no fence. Legalize marijuana, yeah.
So we're calling again upon the state to recognize what the great Peter Touch was beaten up for. That the economics situation can be transformed by the change in mentality towards the holy herb. Yes, the Ola herb. Yeah, this herb has been healing the meditation of black people for centuries. And the Indians as well, because the Indians actually brought this Kali here into Jamaica. And so the Kali is also one of the Indian gods. And so it's a cultural force, a cultural medicine that the Europeans have banned because it touches into the consciousness of the black people. It integrates with the pigment of the herb and the pigment of the skin and the pigment in the brain. They all connect at a cosmic level and give a kind of vibration that those who are lacking are unable to feel. You know that they tell us that we mustn't depend upon our feelings. The Europeans have told us that we must depend upon what we think. And so I have abandoned our feelings. And our feelings have been our greatest guide, you know. We're not talking about emotional feelings. We're not talking about anger and wrath and jealousy. We're talking about feelings that are driven by intuition. Yes, deeper feeling connected to the cosmic vibrations. We have intuitive feelings. We were once a more intuitive people. And that was reflected by our intuitive artists and our intuitive painters. And we used to communicate more intuitively. Now we struggle with English and their 26 letters. Pure confusion. One sound having 4 different meanings. And we have to ask the person what they mean when it's that same sound them give it. And them tell us it is in the context of that. And we become more confused. So there's a whole heap of things we have to be working out. And language is vital. And Rastafari has contributed I. Rastafari has contributed the ital. That is vital to our liberty in this time. As we fight against viral wars, it's all about naturality, which is the Rastaman's way from day one. What we're finding now is that enough of what Rastafari used to expose is what Rome has been pushing on the people now. What the people are grudgingly accepting as reality. That this thing like, for example, Chick V, these things attack you. And not only do they attack your joints, they attack the other areas that are weak. And so if you're not eating and drinking and resting and doing the things properly, other areas shall be attacked. It is time for natural living. It's time to give respect to where that philosophy come from. That philosophy of vitality and vitality is Rastafari. The philosophy of I, liberating from the me, is Rastafari. But Rastafari is still the most disrespected force in Jamaica. And until that changes, yeah, pure problems.
I
The biggest diss in Jamaica is not disrespect. The biggest diss is discrimination. And the discrimination is leveled against the I and I. Because I and I holding on to being African. I and I holding on to African cosmology. And we're holding on to the African representation of the deity as manifested in His Imperial Majesty, Rastafari.
We want to come out in the open, with the breeze skin blowing so far away, to the north, to the south, to the east and to the west, to the west. Talking about Jonestown, Trenchtown, concrete jungle too, from Waterhouse, that's the west. That's the best. That's the west. From St. John's, it comes to you. The best collie weed you ever drew. So why should you run and hide from the Red Sea, the Blue Sea, the cocky clothes do? Tired feel liquid in a bush. Tired feel lick chill in a gully. We want to come out in the open, with the breeze skin blowing so far away, to the north, to the south, to the east and to the west.
Yes, I and I continue to make the appeal to Rastafari and Maroon people to move away this traitor vibration that has been created and come into a unity around economics and ganja planting. We have some people in the island who insisting that the Maroons are traitors, and every time them try to rub that in as some kind of salt into some wound, I don't know what is it they're achieving. And they want an apology. What this apology must look like, I don't know. The reality is that we can't be buckling over these emotional things. These are emotional things. The reality is that the land is there, that the ganja farmers associations are there, and there's a desire to plant ganja. So it is a collectivity again. It is a less ego and e-guess, because there are women involved also who have them e-guess at stake. And by the way, the e-guess of the woman is more powerful than the ego of the man, and more easily affected and hurt. So I could pay attention to that aspect too. So the unity is what we need, not only at the gender level, but at the level of culture, identity. There is no such people called Maroons, you know. It's all African people. The African people went to a different condition. They refused to be Christians. That's the real difference between the people who were Maroons, you know. A lot of the people who were Maroon were Islamic. Again, the same distinction between Christians and Islam. And so Nani was an Islam. Nani was an Islamic force. Nani was one of the marooned Africans who chose not to follow behind Jesus. And so the war was always between the followers of Jesus and the followers of Muhammad. And that war is still going on. Just that African people don't realize that they are victims and pawns of those who control that philosophy of one God. Perhaps we should just abolish one God. Now, this is a great issue now, of course. The great Peter continued to chant it in his tunes and his songs. People here are confused because in America, there are certain states that it is legal in certain states. We need to maintain the understanding that it is not the American government that has legalized ganja in America. Ganja has been legalized in certain states. And so it's not a national liberation in America. And people in Jamaica think that we are a state. And because Colorado can legalize ganja, Jamaica can do it too. We need to come out of that sort of simplistic type of thinking and realize that these are government forces at work. But if we want to decriminalize ganja, we need to legalize the growers. You see, ultimately we have to make the growers of this thing legal. Because how can they be growing an illegal crop? And yet the crop can be, you can keep a certain percentage on your property or in your possession and not be arrested. We have to work out this further conundrum. We have to work this out. So legalization of the ganja is a serious issue, bucking against international treaties, etc., etc. So I'm gonna insist now that rather we fight that treaty, we just move towards industrialization of the hemp. No international blockages, no legal issues, no medical properties. We're talking about the making of money through paper, cloth, and oil. Hemp. Yeah, that's the way forward. Yeah, so part of the solution being proposed by Anna now is coming through the Rastafari University of Higher Life Learning. I want to encourage ones and ones to get involved into this institution that is primarily operating through the cyberspace. We encourage ones and one to go on their Facebook page and lock into the Rastafari UNIVERCITY of Higher Life Learning. You can also visit our YouTube site of the same name, Rastafari UNIVERCITY, University of Higher Life Learning. There we have just put forward our first position paper, and that position is outlining our proposal, our philosophy that black people in this present dispensation need a vehicle in which to travel, to move ourselves collectively. The vehicle has been built years ago. It was built from 1920, and it was running until they deported the leader and the driver. And the vehicle has been sort of just parked. This vehicle now is called the UNIA. And it has been parked for decades. People have been running in and out of it as administrators, but the vehicle has not moved. What the Rastafari University of Higher Life Learning is proposing is that in order to move that vehicle, there need to be a re-energizing. And energizing comes through the naming and the changing of that name. In that name, the organization and the vehicle is called the UNIA. The N represents Negro. And what the university is proposing is that we either transform that name Negro into African and rename Marcus Garvey's vehicle the UAIA, or we subsume all of what the UNIA was into the African Community Leagues. So the proposal is that we, number one, re-energize that vehicle. We have millions of Africans now who are disoriented and they're confused by Allah and confused by Jehovah. And I'm suggesting that the vehicle that we move into without any disturbance is Garvey's vehicle, the UAIA or the ACL. And in this re-energizing and renaming, it will attract 21st century youths who are of African orientation. It will attract non-African people who are considerate to the plight of African people. So if you check our Facebook page, we have our proposition. You can go through it, support it if you like, and we are going to take our proposition to the leadership of the UNIA. Because Mr. Garvey would not be disturbed if we were to change the name Negro to African. Mr. Garvey recognized the African Community League as a formation that he himself constructed. So in 21st century now, we need something to move in. And we can't move in the church. We can't move in religion. We need to move in something that is global. And the UNIA is global, but it is parked. And we need to re-energize it to a fire renaming process. UAIA position being put forward by the Rastafari University of Higher Life Learning, based right here in Portland. I want to hear of the people in Rosend in St. Mary. Again, Rosend has maybe become a site for one of the campuses of the Rastafari University of Higher Life Learning. We'll be in our negotiations very shortly, but it is looking good. Rastafari expanding.
Protege, yeah. Chronics are where you stay, eh? Yeah. Okay. Oh, baby. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I just go where the trade will
suppose. I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. To provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Green leaves, hey.
When me see Jah, me see a way. Drastically straight from hypocrisy, I say, hey. Every man to them own a philosophy. I live the proper way and then me read a chapter daily. Man, they in a city hungry and no eat. And food they down a country just a drop off of the tree then. You see say poverty no real then. Is what the reason revealing.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I just go where the trade wind blows. Sending love to my friends and foes. And I suppose I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies. To provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Green leaves, yeah.
When the rain hits a pot on the roof, herb just a steam pepper pot on the stew. Life is a dream if you got gratitude. So go tell the regime them can't stop what we do now. Information you think on your own, or else you're a slave to the things that you know. What do you know if you learn every day? So be careful of things where you say.
Who knows? Who knows?
There comes a time of transition, and we transit the movement into another movement, and we hold a meditation on our psychic being, on our endocrine system, on our immune system, on our nervous system, our skeletal system, our digestive. We focus on the systems of